Hi guys, welcome to our new video in the YouTube. In today's video, we will be implementing the LINQ query examples in C#. So for today, we will be covering the where clause in LINQ query. We will cover the OrderBy, ThenBy. We'll cover the first. We'll cover FirstOrDefault. We'll cover ElementAt. We'll cover last. Then we'll cover single and SingleOrDefault in LINQ query. After that, we'll see the reverse, and then we'll see count, and then we will see few aggregate functions in LINQ query, which is min, max, sum, average. So let's start coding and code all of this LINQ query in C#. So let's get started. So I'll open my Visual Studio, and in Visual Studio I'll create a new project, a new console application. I'll call it as LINQ for YouTube. I'll call the project as LINQ for YouTube. I'll select our .NET version as .NET 6.2, and then I'll create this project. So guys, our console application is created in the YouTube. So LINQ for YouTube project is created. So let's start coding. So guys, in the program.cs file, I'll remove the default syntax which is present, and I'll write a proper class program. In class program, we will create an employee class. So this employee data we will be manipulating today. And employee class is strictly the model. And in this model, we'll add the data entities which we will manipulate. So firstly, we'll add a ID column. Then we'll add a string column. We'll give a question mark to remove the warning. So this warning generally comes for a null check. So we'll add another property called as address. Then we'll give the property designation. And after that, we'll give another property of salary, which will be integer type. And we'll generate the getter setter. Okay, so we have successfully defined our model class. Next, we will write one method, and the purpose of the method which we are writing in here will be to print employee details. So basically, we'll write static type of method, and the return type will be void for this method, and the name of the method will be print employee details. This method we will be calling throughout in our main method. The purpose of this method will be to print all employee details after filtering, and we'll be able to view the data, respective data. So we'll do a console.writeLine, and in console.writeLine we'll be using string interpolation. And then we'll add ID, and the ID we want will be taking We'll print it from the coming in parameter. We'll print the value of ID from the coming in employee type parameter. So I'll pass the ID. We'll provide a comma. Give a plus sign. We'll be printing every detail. Every entity property we will be printing in here. So we'll print the name, then we will print address, and then we will print our designation after address. Lastly, we will print the salary. We will print our salary. So let's edit. Okay. So we are done with, so we have declared an employee class which is model, which will contain the data properties. Then we have created a main, we have created a method which we will use to print employee details in our console. And let's write our main method. Static void main. String oops. Okay. So in here we'll declare a list of employee type and we'll create its object in list. So after creating the employee list object, we'll insert value in these objects, and based on these values we will provide our LINQ query to work and manipulate the data of employee. So let's insert the ID as 1, let's give the name as Aman, and then let's give the address as Gopalpur, and let's give the designation as manager. And I think the spelling is wrong in here, so we'll get the correct spelling, and let's give the salary as 1000, current salary as 1000. Okay, after that let's add a few more chunks of data. So we'll use ID, provide ID as 2, and let's give the name as, you see, Lucky. Okay, Lucky is address is Hyderabad, and Lucky is a lawyer by profession. I mean, say, let's use designation. So designation, and it's lawyer, and salary is 5,000. So guys, I've added two datas in this employee, and rest I'm copying from the other side of my screen. Rest data I'm copying, so to avoid repetition of the code and increasing unnecessary length in the video, I'm copying it from the other side. You give the ID, and ID. So this data of employee we will be manipulating today, and our first filtering clause in LINQ query is where. So we will see the where clause first. So I'll use where. I'll give the comment as where clause in LINQ query. Okay. So just a minute, guys. So down below. So I'll be coding the where clause in LINQ query. Okay. So let's declare a var and let's call it where result. Okay. Since this will give us the result for where, we will be using where result. And the employees object which we have declared above and assigned value to that object, we will be using that. And in that object, we will call our where. And in where we will provide a filtering statement. So a filtering statement will be, let's say I want to filter it on the basis of name. So I want the record of employee whose name is Aman. So we have given it in the where clause. And then after that we'll use a console.writeLine. In console.writeLine we'll say result of where LINQ query, and then we'll say for each, and in for each we will say where employee in where result, and then we will print employee details, and in this print employee details we'll pass our employee. Then we'll do a console.writeLine in order to separate all of our results from other results. We will be using this. Okay, this looks good. Okay, so our where clause in the LINQ query is coded correctly here. Okay, so LINQ is a uniform query syntax that allows us to retrieve data from various data sources such as array, collections, databases, XML files. So when we are coding this where result, it is a variable where the object of employees having the list type of employees. In this list we have it is an example of a collection, and here we have applied our where clause, and this will be filtering on the basis of the name. So it will return us the data of the employee whose name is Aman. So this is the exact meaning of this particular line of code. And let's see the result by running this particular snippet. So I have run this code, and let's run it again. And guys, you can see the result. So the ID 1, name Aman, address Gopalpur, designation manager, salary 1000. So whatever data of Aman is there, it is retrieved. So let's run, or let's code our second part. So in the second, we will be coding the OrderBy in LINQ Query. So OrderBy is generally used for sorting the data. So I'll apply OrderBy. I'll give the comment OrderBy in LINQ Query, and then I'll call a result which will be where let's give a console.writeLine first. So I'll write a console. Let's copy it from here. I'll copy it from here. I'll paste it in here. B, and I'll say result of OrderBy in LINQ Query. And in this OrderBy, write a where OrderBy result, and this OrderBy result will be employees, and I want to order them by designation. So I'll pass this employee object, and I'll say it'll be order by, and we'll be using this lambda expression to pass the designation. So OrderBy result is written correctly, and then again, in order to view the result, we'll be using the for each, and this for each will have where employee in OrderBy result, and then we will be using print employee details method, and in this method we'll pass the employee. So after this, we'll do a console.writeLine to separate the values. We'll copy it in from here, and then we'll paste this snippet. Let's save it. Let's do a console.read key to view results. Read key. This read key will generally be called for the console to wait for us to print any key and then close the application. So I'll start our application again and view our result for the OrderBy LINQ Query. So let's run it. And guys, yes, you can see that on the basis of the designation, this list is sorted. So you can see that CEO comes first, and after that there is journalist, there's lawyer, there's manager, there's writer, and based on that our respective IDs and everything is sorted. So let's say another example is ThenBy. So ThenBy in LINQ query. So ThenBy we generally use after an OrderBy. So let's say I want to sort the record based on the designation of order first, and after designation I want to sort it by name. So in that case we use the ThenBy when there are multiple sorting conditions applied. So let's see it practically how we can do it. So I'll do a console. I'll remove this read key from here first, and then I'll copy this snippet first, and then this snippet I'll say ThenBy. Result of ThenBy in LINQ query. So what we will do after ThenBy, we'll create a variable. We'll call it var, and then we'll call it sort result. Because this OrderBy and ThenBy is generally used for sorting purpose. So we'll say employees, and then in this case first we'll do a OrderBy based on designation, and then we'll do a ThenBy based on names. So OrderBy designation first, we have given a lambda expression, and then we'll call it ThenBy, and ThenBy we will provide our based on name. So let's give a semicolon, and let's again use for each loop to view the data in the console. Let's call it var. That is calling it with name var will be more optimized. Okay, so we have applied we call our method print employee details, and we'll pass employee, and then we'll use this console.writeLine to separate the result from the other. Okay, so ThenBy in LINQ query we have saved it, and let's run our result. And so that our console is visible, let's provide a console.read key. Okay, save it, run, and this is the result, guys. You can see it is in the above it is sorted on the basis of the designation first, and after the designation it is sorted on the basis of name. So this is the difference in the data. So ID 5 is coming first in here, and in this sorting ID 6 is coming first. So this is how we use ThenBy. I'll close this data. I'll close it, and next in pipeline is first. So we use first method to return the first element in a collection. So again, first also comes with first also comes with the first element for the specified condition is returned in the first LINQ query. In LINQ query, let's give a space for better readability. Okay. So first method will return the first element in the collection, and in first method we have to definitely give some conditions. So let's say I'll copy this line in order to differentiate. Okay, so we will say result of first in LINQ query. So firstly we'll create a variable, okay, and let's call it first result, and this first result will again have, let's say I want to apply first and I want to apply it on designation. So whoever's designation is CEO, it should return the value of that. It should return the first value of the record whose designation is CEO. So let's see what our data will return. We'll call our print employee details, and in print employee details we'll pass our first result, and let's do a console.writeLine this part of the, let's copy this part of the code basically, paste it in here, and let's see what result we are getting. So I'll run this and see, it is returning the result of first element in LINQ query. So basically it is returning the ID 5, name Umang, address Ranchi, designation CEO, and salary 2500. So next we will see is FirstOrDefault. So there is one more point regarding the first query. So whenever we are using this first LINQ query, let's say we provide a condition where no element matches the condition. So in that case, this first will throw us an exception. So let's see that part as well. Let's say I have given this first result. Let's create another variable. Okay. So I'll call it var exception first result. And in this case, let's give us a LINQ query wherein I want the result for name. Let's say I want the name as, let's give a random string in here. So this value definitely doesn't exist in our collection. So in this case, it will throw us an exception. Let's see how it throws us an exception. Let's run this snippet of code. So I'll save this and I'll run this snippet. And as you can see, it is throwing a system invalid operation exception. So first we'll throw an exception whenever the condition which we are providing is not matching. So in that case, it will throw a system invalid operation exception. In case of default, whenever we are providing, in case of FirstOrDefault, whenever we are providing a condition which is not matching, in that case, FirstOrDefault returns us null values. So we'll see that practically, but let's write a snippet of code to see the result of FirstOrDefault. So I'll provide our console.writeLine. First, copy it, paste it in here, say FirstOrDefault in LINQ Query, and we will be using this itself only. I mean, we'll use this query only. Let's say I'll say FirstOrDefault result. Okay, so in case of employees.FirstOrDefault, and then we will use designation itself, and we'll pass CEO, and we'll print the employee details, and in printing we'll pass our FirstOrDefault result. So let's see what result we will get after running it. Let's run. And yes, FirstOrDefault is also returning the same value. So when we are viewing our console, it is same value. Close it. Let's close it, and let's let's check for that null value. So let's say I'll say where, I'll say result, and in this I'll say employees.FirstOrDefault, and in name I'll pass something, some random string, and okay, it will be a double equal to here. So let's check our code will fail in this line, or maybe it will return a null value for this result. So I'll run it. Our code is not failing. Let's see the value of the result in the console. So I'll say print employee details, and in this employee details I'm passing the result. Let's see what happens. So null reference exception is thrown because the value is null. So in order to not get this exception, let's try one more approach. I'll provide a question mark here to every entity, and let's test it once again and see what happens. Okay. So guys, you can see we have all values empty when we provided this question mark. That means the data is null. The FirstOrDefault, if the condition is not true, it will return the null value. So let's see our next LINQ method in the pipeline, which is ElementAt. So I'll be copying this line, I'll paste it in here, and let's use a comment ElementAt in the LINQ query, and let's see the ElementAt. So I'll give a console.writeLine. Let's copy it from above only. Let's paste it in here. Let's see result of ElementAt in LINQ query. So ElementAt is nothing but just the based on the index we can access the value. Let's say I created a var and I'll call it as ElementAt result, and in ElementAt result I'll pass the employees dot ElementAt, I'll call it, let's say I want to access the element at position Z2, so I'll pass the second index and let's print the element at second index. So I'll pass the element result in here. So ElementAt result, and then we'll give a console dot write line separator. Okay, let's save it and let's view our data. So logically the ElementAt2 is the ID 4. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2. So it should return this particular record of ID 4. So let's see what our query returns. Let's run it and check. So yeah, you can see that the ID 4 is returned correctly. Let's check why. Let's press enter. Okay. Let's remove this snippet of code. We don't require it anymore. So let's remove this snippet from here. We don't require it anymore. Let's remove this snippet from here. We don't require it anymore. And let's add this snippet. Paste it in here. Let's paste it here. Okay. So ElementAt we have covered successfully. Next we will be seeing. Next we will see the last in LINQ query. So last in LINQ query. So guys, we'll cover this last part in our, the last in the LINQ query we'll cover. So I'll copy a console.writeLine and I'll change it and call it as last. So just as first, the last element returns the last method will return the last element in the collection. So whatever we will provide, whatever condition we will provide, based on that it will return us the last element of the sequence. Of the sequence for the particular condition where it has been. So I'll first declare a var type of last result, and there I'll pass the condition of employees dot last, and I want to and I want it for, let's say, designation CEO itself. I want to use it. So it will be like E. We provide a lambda expression condition, so it will be E dot I'll say designation, and I'll say equals CEO. So whoever's designation is CEO for that particular collection, it will return us the last element in here. So I'll print it. And I'll pass our last result in here. And then we'll provide our separator of copy it, paste it. And let's say if the particular condition for last is not met, in that case it will throw the exception. So invalid operation exception will be thrown here as well if the condition is not true. So we have seen that particular invalid operation exception in case of first. We will not be considering that part in our video for last. So you guys can try it on your own and let me know in the comment section what was the result. So I will run it for the last. And yes guys, so we return of last in LINQ query. We see ID6 is returned, but in case of result of first in LINQ query, ID5 was returned. So this is how the data manipulation works. So next we will be seeing LastOrDefault, and in case of LastOrDefault also it is same, that if the condition which we are providing for LastOrDefault, if it is not meeting, in that case it will not throw the exception, but it will return null value if no element is returned. So let's say I would pass, I'll first give our comment, which is LastOrDefault in LINQ query, and we'll copy this snippet from here, paste it in here, and let's provide the code will be same so as above. Just in this case we'll use LastOrDefault. Result will also be same guys, it will return the same value only. So I'll call it LastOrDefault result. I will pass this LastOrDefault result in here. So pass our LastOrDefault result in here. And LastOrDefault, this condition will be met and we'll get the same value. So let's run and check. And guys, you can see, if we provide a condition which is let's say not true, which is not meeting in this particular query, in that case it will return us null value. So if you don't want an exception, it is always advisable to use LastOrDefault or FirstOrDefault in such cases. So our next query in our pipeline is let me check and I will tell you. So it is single. Next we will be using single and SingleOrDefault. So single and first is almost same, but in case of first we have to provide a condition where there are multiple values. In case of single, we provide a condition where there is one specific value present to the database. So for single, we'll play with the name only. So say copy this part, paste it in here. I'll create their single result. And in case of single result, we'll pass our employees.single and we'll play with name. I will say equals. I will pass Aman. I will print this result. will print in print employee details. We'll pass the single result, and we'll provide a separator. We will provide our separator. Okay. So we paste it in here, and we'll change the comment in here. It will be single result of single LINQ query. So if multiple elements are matching with the condition, or if no element is present in case of single, in both these cases it will throw us exception of system invalid operation. So let's run and see the data. So we have run and we have seen the result. So ID Aman is returned. And in case of SingleOrDefault, again it will return null if no element will match with the condition. But SingleOrDefault will also throw us exception if multiple elements match the condition. So let's say if we are providing this condition of designation in SingleOrDefault, it will throw us exception. So I'll use SingleOrDefault in LINQ query. First I'll show a successfully running query, which is nothing but I'll just simply copy paste from above only, because there won't be any much difference in above. And to change the name, let's provide an extra E just to avoid confusion. So the result will be result will be totally same in case of single as well as SingleOrDefault. I'll run and you can see that result is same. But in case of both single and SingleOrDefault, if we are providing a condition, let's say I'll provide a pair single result, single exception. Okay. So in single exception, if we provide a condition where employees dot single, and in this I pass on the designation as, let's say, CEO. So in this case, in this particular condition of CEO, there are two values. So there are two person, ID 5 and ID 6, which possess CEO designation. So in this case, our single LINQ query will throw us an exception of system invalid operation. So let's just check it by running. So I've run and you can see system invalid operation exception is thrown for this particular condition. Same is the case with SingleOrDefault. In both the cases, single should be used when we are looking for a particular record, one particular record, and that record has no repetitions. So in that case, we will be using single. So SingleOrDefault. Next in the pipeline is reverse. So reverse is nothing but simple, I would say, aggregate type of function which reverses the value. So I'll say reverse in LINQ query. LINQ query, and in this reverse I'm pasting it here. So basically this console.writeLine is there, which shows the result of reverse in LINQ query. Here we have reversed this employee object, and after that we have applied for each loop to see the reverse value. So let's provide our separator and let's see the value in console. I'll save it and run this record, and you can see so it has reversed it. So 6, 5, 3, 4, 2, 1. In this way it has reversed the data, and we can view it in our screen. So next example is of count. So count is nothing but it returns the count of the total data list. So I would say that in case of employee it will return us 6, because there are total 6 records present in the employee list. So let's see it. Guys, I am not typing this code, rather I am copying it from the other side of the screen. So basically, while preparing for this video, first I code out the project and then I create the video. So I'll copy it from the other side of my screen, placed it in here. So you can see that this employees.count will return us a total of 6. And let's provide a separator. Okay, so I'll save it. Let's run and see the value. So you can see the result is 6. Our next queries which we will be looking at now is aggregate functions. So let's separate it with the comment aggregate functions. Aggregate functions in LINQ query. And we'll be seeing min first. We'll see min first. And let's code the min part. So we'll say where min result, and in min result I want the minimum clause to be returned for a string value which is name. So I'll apply the min on name, and I want min on name. So there won't be any equal to it here, and we'll print this result. So we'll provide our separator. Sorry, we won't be providing print employee details. We'll do a console.writeLine. So in case of console.writeLine, we'll pass our min, and let's pass our let's give a comment first before passing min. So I'll copy from here and I'll paste it in here, and we'll see the data. Let's run it and check. So yes, result of min is Aman. It is simply Aman. So the Aman is the minimum value of the length. Minimum value of name's length. So our next aggregate function is max, which I will try copying it from above only, because there won't be much of difference. Just Control Z. Control Z. Okay. Next is max. So what I'll do, I'll select, I'll copy it, I'll paste it, and then I will call this as max result, and I'll pass a max plus, and I'll change the comment as max. and let's provide our separator in both min and max. I'll copy it, I'll paste it in here, the space, let's give another space, let's save it, let's run it. See, you can see guys, our data is returned correctly. So I forgot to pass the max result because it was returning Aman in both the cases, so console.writeLine had other variables. So let's run it again and see the value. So the max name is Uma and the min name is Aman. We get two separate values. Our next LINQ functions is sum and average. So basically sum, we use it on sum. Sum is used on a column wherein there is data related to numerical types. So let's say we will be using sum and average in salary. So let's create a sum result. And in sum result we will use employees dot sum, and in sum we will be passing the salary, so it will return us the sum of all the salary fields of all data. So we have passed it correctly, and then let's we'll copy the comments and we'll do a console.writeLine and pass the sum result, and then we'll pass our separator. Okay. So guys, you can see the result of sum in LINQ query is 15,000. So it is returning 15,000 as the sum of all salaries in here. Let's close it. And our last function which we will be seeing in this video is average. So we'll copy from the above only, paste it in here. Let's make few changes. We'll call it average result. We'll pass average. So this particular query will return us the average salary. So let's see the results. So average salary is 2,500. So that's it for today guys. I have tried coding and explaining the LINQ query in C#. If you guys like this content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Please share this video with your friends, and thanks for watching. Please revisit again.